So in this next video, we're just going to talk about ways to build trust at work. So sometimes in my videos, I talk about how there's 3 key pillars for effective relationships at work, and they are like, trust and respect. And professional relationships can go down to 2 of those pillars, but if you kind of get down to 1, then like a stool, it becomes quite wobbly. But ideally what we want to have is those 3 core pillars to have really effective relationships. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can build trust, which is one of the key pillars, but sometimes a bit difficult to do. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. So when people are looking for their leaders or their managers, there's kind of 4 key elements that they look for to show that they can trust them in that professional setting. The first is ability, which in essence just basically means knowing your stuff. So your team will very quickly work out if you're bluffing or if you're pretending to know something that you don't know. And actually there's quite a lot of power as a leader or as a manager holding your hands up and saying when you don't know something, and actually that transparency people really resonate with. But you do need to have a level of competence because most people want the people above them to be better at their jobs or have a different skill set to the ones that they currently see. So if you're new into a role and you're trying to build that trust, focus on demonstrating your ability. So it may be by explaining how you've worked in a similar environment and some of the successes you've had there. It may be about actually getting involved in a project and your team can see how you work and what skills you have got, or just making sure that you're adding finesse and making added value to the products that are going out of your team by adding your abilities onto it. So the first thing to think about is just how do you demonstrate your ability to your team so that they know that they can trust you. The second element is that people want to see that you have the best interests of the team at the heart of what you do. So teams will very quickly work out if you're quite self-serving or if you haven't got the interests of the team. And teams will be looking for you to kind of be the interface between them and more senior management. So although of course as a manager you will need to work with senior management and sometimes deploy things, you need to do that in a way that's going to be best for the team. So sometimes that might be pushing back to those above you if it's not really right for your team. Or if it is a difficult message, it's about explaining that to the team and getting them on side so that they can see that you're trying to work with the best interest of them in the team. And it's also sometimes on the micro decisions, so understanding how to get the best out of your team, how to get them to work together, and how to remove some of the communication problems and distrust you might have within team members. So by continually demonstrating that you as their leader or their manager have the best interests of the team at the heart of what you do, and that drives your decision making and also your actions within the organisation and with other teams, they're going to be able to trust you. And then even when there is a difficult decision that they may not like the outcome of, by you explaining kind of why you're doing it and then how that relates back to the team, they're going to see that ultimately you do have the best interests of the team at the heart of what you do, and that's going to help them trust you in the long term. The third thing they're looking for is integrity, and in essence that's just someone who can model the values. So I don't know if you've ever kind of been in a situation where someone's called and the boss has said, oh, tell them I'm not here. Like that has just basically given them the green light that lying, white lies are okay in the team, and actually you can not do things if you don't want to do them, or you can kind of do those things. So by making sure that you're modelling good values and have integrity with everything that you do is going to help the team trust you. So those little white lies are one. Be careful not to talk about other team members or other people outside of the department in a negative way, because that's going to suggest to people that perhaps you're a bit of a gossip, or perhaps that you or you're talking about people behind their backs. So just making sure that you're acting in a kind of good way with integrity in kind of different situations that your team are going to see you, that's going to help them trust that you have good values and that ultimately you're someone that they can trust. And the fourth element, which might seem a bit weird, but actually is predictability. So although it's great to be innovative and to continually work on new things, what teams do value is predictability. And that's your predictability in the way that you react to situations, what you will ask of them. One of the big criticisms of managers is they're always changing the goalposts, or I don't know where I stand, or I don't know what I need to do to get the next job or the next promotion. So having a framework of predictability, that you will be consistent, that you'll consistently show up for them, that you'll be consistent in the way that you make decisions and also the way that you determine those decisions is going to be important to your team. So they need to know kind of what's the operating framework, how do we treat each other, how do we make decisions, are you someone that's going to take a really long time to make decisions, in which case that's fine, but then if you suddenly make decisions off the cuff, they're going to find that a little bit confusing, and vice versa. If you're someone who usually makes decisions really quickly and then all of a sudden you want to wait 3 months for a decision, they'll start to think that perhaps there's something else going on that they're not aware of, or there might be something wider in the organisation. So making sure that you're consistent and predictable will just help garner that trust with your team, because they know how you will show up and how you will react, and that means that they can shape what they're doing better for you. So those are 4 key areas that you can think about as a manager or a leader that you can start to build trust in your teams. And that's not just in new teams, it might be in a team that you're already existing in, or especially if you're looking to make a step up and become a new manager in that team. Just because you've worked with people for a number of years and they kind of know you, doesn't mean that they necessarily will trust you, particularly in a new position. So kind of if you're new in, I'd say think about those 4 areas, think about how you can demonstrate. Some of those, sometimes it will be direct communication in a team meeting, you saying like, these are my values, this is what I expect from you, this is what you can expect from me. Almost like a verbal contract, but make sure you're backing it up with those behaviours that we talked about, with the integrity and with the predictability, so that teams can get to know you and trust you over the medium and long term. And that's just going to make sure that those working relationships become stronger and more effective. And ultimately, if they always know that you have their back and the best interests of the team at heart, you're going to get the best out of that team. I'm Liz, and on my channel we talk about things that are going to help you have more confidence in your career and also help you navigate some of the obstacles that you might find in the corporate world. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.